It's happening. That is all you need to know in this video. It is happening. A new look Big 12 is on the way. Welcome into the channel. I am John Kurtz. Please click subscribe if you have not. I talk college football every day on this channel. Right now, that's conference realignment every day on this channel because I aim to give the Big 12 a voice. Well, BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston are all on their way to the Big 12. Multiple reports now saying that it is a formality and it will happen by tomorrow, which will be Friday, depending on when it is that you're watching this video. From Brett McMurphy of the Action Network, BYU, UCF, Cincy, and Houston have all officially applied for Big 12 membership, sources told at Action Network HQ. Big 12 presidents will vote Friday to accept and will accept those schools, sources said. A news conference is scheduled Friday. So a news conference already. We've got a presser in the works on Friday. Here, this is from Pete Thamel of Yahoo Sports. Sources: a Big 12 president's call is scheduled for Friday morning to formally vote UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU into the league. The vote is largely considered a formality. And if you need anything more, how about CBS Sports? Dennis Dodd. Big 12 presidents at a meeting Friday will, quote, rubber stamp invitations to join the conference to BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF, sources told CBS Sports on Wednesday. The meeting has been planned for some time, but the exact actions to be taken at it had not been previously clear. So not only is all of this going to happen by the end of the week, it's official enough that we're going to get a press conference, apparently, which tells me that the Big 12 really means business here. Think about the timeline on all of this. It was August 26th that the Pac-12 said, we're not going to expand. That was 2 weeks and 1 day from Friday. So in 2 weeks and 1 day, 15 days, the Big 12 got all of this done, got everything ready to go to the point where we're apparently going to have a press conference already to talk about these additions to the league. I mean, from the Dallas Morning News, this kind of backs that up. It says, quote, actually, the Pac-12 may have provided the impetus for the Big 12 with its August 26th announcement not to expand. Big 12 schools have been hoping for some sort of opening in the Pac-12. When that door closed, the Big 12 had expansion as the only option. One source credited Commissioner Bob Bowlesby with being ready. Quote, when the Pac-12 shut down, Bowlesby had everybody on the same page and a plan, the source said. And doesn't that fly in the face of what the typical narrative is out there of Bob Bowlesby? Everybody's saying he's a joker, he's a pushover. Every Big 12 commissioner has gotten that treatment throughout the history of time, it feels like, certainly at least back to 2010 and Dan Beebe. But Bowlesby definitely earned himself a lot of credibility with this. Say what you will about these teams, say what you will about if it's going to be a Power 5 league moving forward or not. There's plenty of time to debate that. But this was the best plan that you could put in place after Texas and Oklahoma left. And acting fast when the Pac-12 made that decision was the best way to go. There were reports from Max Olson about unhappiness in the Big 12 camp with Bowlesby. Is he the right guy for the job? Oliver Luck was brought in as a consultant. Right, you could smell some of the sharks circling the water, and they were out there smelling blood, ready to go here, right? But Bob Bowlesby got into action and made this all happen within 15 days. And it's hard to argue that he didn't get the best four options available. I think most everybody would tell you that right now, based on what you have out there, these would be the best four options available. And a Dallas Morning News source put it like this, quote, they are the four best athletes available. So putting this into NFL draft terms, the four best athletes that were available, the Big 12 went and got them. Now, is some of this based on potential and some upside there? Yes. But that's what the draft is all about, right? You have to go on some potential. There were not blue blood schools out there ready and waiting to come to the Big 12, so you have to draft based on potential. Okay, and that's what the league has done. And it still may not stop there. I mean, check out this comment from Texas Tech AD Kirby Hopecutt, who was on SiriusXM's Big 12 channel on Tuesday of this week, and he said that, quote, I think right now the number is 4, but I'm not sure that's the last play. So he's leaving the door open for expansion there. Jamie Pollard had comments earlier this week that echoed Pete Thamel's report, which said to go bigger than just adding the 4. And then we have this as well from Sikkim 365 yesterday. Their report says Sikkim 365 has learned there is a push from active members of the league that the final addition total should be 6 programs and that the league should make the additions immediately. And if the decision is made to add 6, Memphis and Boise State look to lead the way as the final 2 additions. With an eventual departure of Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, that would bring the membership to 14 with presence in 3 time zones. So I don't think that we're all done with this. Right now it does feel like there's a finality to this part of the process, but there has been so much smoke. There's been enough smoke on the front of adding at least 2 more teams that I do not think we're done. And I think if you're a Memphis fan, if you're a Boise fan, I'd pay attention to what continues to happen in the Big 12. Now, as for the timing of all of this and what's going to happen now, all the reports really seem to continue to point toward 2023. That football season is the likely start date for all of these schools. That will require some maneuvering here because, again, I've mentioned this many a time on the channel, but the AAC requires 27 months notice, a $10 million exit fee. 27 months would put you past the 2023 football season. 2024 would be the first year you could be there, right? And I know many people have mentioned UConn paid an extra $7 million to leave early when they did, and they got out of the 27 months notice. It seems like most of the industry believes that will happen again, that there is a price tag, and the AAC will allow those teams to leave just for more money. And if most of the industry is continuing to go with that, then, hey, I'm going to throw my hands up and say, all right, like, I guess I will generally believe that. I would have thought, Oresco seems like such a bulldog and very fierce competitor, which he should be as the commissioner of his league, and I think he's done a good job. I wonder just if he would be willing to acquiesce on some of that, but hey, money talks in the end. And then BYU is the school that gets mentioned as, hey, 2022 maybe a possibility. They're an independent, so obviously they have way more flexibility on that front. It will be far less tricky for them to get into the league, but I still think 2022 is tricky for BYU, mainly because of the schedule that they have laid out for 2022. If you go look at who BYU has lined up to play next year, Oregon, Arkansas, Stanford, Boise State, and now Notre Dame, all on their schedule in 2022. Those are some very high-profile matchups, and the Notre Dame game was just announced within the last week, and it's going to be in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, home of, obviously, the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's a pretty big deal, playing Notre Dame, playing it there. BYU just had a great showing in Las Vegas for their game against Arizona to open up this season, and that game is supposed to be in October next year. So, could you work that into a Big 12 schedule? It would already seemingly be a little bit weird to have the one team but not everybody else and an awkward number of 11 in the league. I have a hard time seeing that happen, but maybe. I mean, who knows? BYU does have more flexibility there. Either way, the motivation, and you'd ask, why do you want to get them in? The motivation here, I think, for the Big 12 is just to get everybody in as soon as possible so that you can have your new product, your new look product, out there before you go to market for your next TV deal, which would be in 2025. Like the last season would be 2024-25 for your current TV deal. You want to make sure the TV partners have as good an idea as possible of what your league can be and what it will look like. So the sooner you get them in, the sooner you get them playing games, better chance you may have to market yourself when the next TV contract does come up. And we're going to talk more today about the TV numbers and what that could look like, and that will be very, very important. Finally, on the Texas and Oklahoma front, the Dallas Morning News says don't expect this to affect their timeline very much. I mean, there probably is a number that would allow them to leave early, like, hey, you pay X amount of money, we'll let you out in 2023 if you really want to be out. But I would think the Big 12 is going to make sure that number is high, very, very high, because right now it's already reported to be around $80 million for the standard exit fees here. The Big 12, I'm sure, would make that north of $80 million if they want to leave. Now, The Athletic mentioned Oklahoma and Texas's lawyers will probably be digging here to see if there's some kind of loophole with the fact that the league is now expanding. Like, can you maneuver your way out of the contract easier because of that? We'll see. I would have my doubts, but I am no legal mind at all. So to be determined there, and everything continues to be quiet publicly on the OU and Texas front. But there's a rundown of everything you need to know right now with all of this barreling toward tomorrow being the day. And I'll go live if it is the day and it does all get wrapped up tomorrow. I'll do a live show after my radio show gets done at 6 o'clock. Again, if you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. I talk college football every day on this channel. Right now, that means realignment every day on this channel, trying to give the Big 12 a voice here at this channel. You can follow me on Twitter at JL Kurtz. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram, John Kurtz Show. Appreciate all of your support, and I will talk to you guys soon.